Peace, peace, peace. Hope all is well. Today is August 14, 2020. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. So today's topic will be the subjectiveness of time and how our consciousness is directly linked to the passage of time. So time is personal. Time is a measure of energy, right? Inertia, kinetic energy, potential energy. Time is a change in observable values. Key word, observable, the observer, right? The observer is seeing changes, right? And we view that as the passage of time. And then there's values within that's being observed. Objects, things, events that we place value on or we don't place value on. So I recently made a purchase of an e-bike from a company in California, of which they got the bike from China. They told me it would take 2 months. Ended up taking 10 weeks, 2.5 months. And I made the purchase about May 29th. I received the bike August 11th. And time dragged, and it dragged. And it made me realize what I already knew, but it's like I needed a refresher course, because life never stops teaching. No matter what you know, you still don't know, right? So you always have to empty your cup to learn more. Empty your cup to learn more. And I suffered. In Buddhism, there's a saying that I can't tell you how to find happiness, but I can show you how not to suffer by curbing your urges and desires. By curbing your urges and desires. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't have fun, but there should be a balance, an equilibrium of how you micromanage, you CEO, your urges and desires. Which goes back to the videos previously. Are you the CEO of your experience, right? And urges and desires is part of your experience because you're the one generating it. So the e-bike that I purchased doesn't know its own value. I'm placing value on it. Change in observable values. Time. Change in observable values. And I'm the observer. The e-bike is not the observer. The vacation is not the observer. The Gucci bag is not the observer. The Bugatti that's worth $2.5 million is not the observer. You're the observer. If I take it scripturally, right? God told Adam to name the animals. Why? Now people can have different interpretations of that, right? But the animal is trapped in his perceptual awareness. It's a value that he's observing. It's how we're created, right? So we name things, we make metrics and measurements of things, right? Like what we think is night and day is really shadow and light hours, right? But we call it night and day because we're the ones assigning value to it. We create a linguistic label to what we call time or what we observe in time. There's a saying that time is like a shell that's being carried around on the turtle's back. So the shell is like time, and you're the turtle. You're the one carrying it, and you're the one generating it. And you're the one assigning value based on your observable values. So I'm very pleased with the bike, but I'm not pleased with how it disturbed me and how it altered my peace of mind. There's a thing called time cell perception, because time and observation is perceived through these billions of cells that we call the human organism, that constitutes the human organism. So when we're viewing the passage of time, time cell perception is based on dopamine neurons in the substantia nigra of the brain. You can look that up, and it alters time depending on how the value of what it's perceiving is being perceived. So if you're having a great time, time flying by. If you're not having a great time, time is dragging, like literally dragging. The month of June and July, for me, subjectively, drag. That's why I named this video the subjectiveness of time, not the objectiveness of time. When we look at daylight savings time, I think it was created right after World War I, approximately 1917, 1819, somewhere around there, right? I think it started in Canada and it came down, North America, etc. But these times are not real when they move the clock forward and backwards, right? You don't feel any difference. You lose sleep or you gain sleep, but it's still based on observable values, because we're the observer. And that's a whole nother topic why that came into play. But the clock that we use is used to create structure in our lives, so we can have formality and be able to keep structure around us, to be able to keep stick to a particular time or meeting place, and we're on the same accord, right? It's good. The concept of time is good, but time is still rooted in our consciousness, because we alter it, and it's based on time self-perception, like I was saying before. At the end of the day, being able to understand what time is and understand how subjective it is, and knowing that it doesn't exist outside of you, is a huge part of self-mastery. And within those 2 months of June and July, my mastery was all over the place. Now that the highest urge and desire, which was the e-bike, has been attained, and I have nothing that's pulling me with that high urge or tug. Now time will be normalized again by my own consciousness, not someone else's consciousness, my own consciousness, because it's subjective to me. So, and these are things that I always knew, but it's like I need to renew my history all over again. And life itself is the teacher. So it's teaching me all over again and reconfirming things that I stood on before, and why these things are real and why these things are concrete and they're not really up for debate. So I remember in my clubbing days, when I used to go out a lot, you know, in the West Indian community, we have this thing called where we party from Friday to Sunday. I can't remember the name of it, but it'll come back to me. But we party straight through, right? No breaks. And the weekend flies right by, and people go back to work, place of business on Monday, like nothing ain't happened. Why? Because you're having a great time, right? Time self-perception, the altering of time, the speeding up of time, because pleasure is being involved. We are creatures of pleasure. We are creatures we're social creatures, right? But creatures of pleasure is more what we are. And it's very hard to get away from that, you know, and the more you live, the more you understand that, and life continues to reveal these things. So I just wanted to do a quick bill on that, and how our minds can alter time self-perception, and the substantia nigra of the brain. Very interesting, very, very interesting. And there's more lessons to come, because the more you live, the more you learn, if you're paying attention. If you're paying attention, life will, if you allow it to teach you, it will teach you everything that you need, right? So you're going to get it from different variables, different people, different circumstances. This circumstances has taught me again how personal time is. Now that I got the e-bike, time will resume its normal passage, right? Allegedly external to me or external to you, right? So with all that being said, let your last endeavor be your best endeavor, and remember how personal and subjective time is. Salute.